Science is now backing up what the mystics always said, and we're finding out that the heart actually has neurons in it. Yeah, the neurons that are only found in our brain in our body? No, they're actually found in our heart. And we're finding out that the heart sends more energy to the brain than any other organ sends to the brain, or the brain itself. A lot of this work is being pioneered by Dr. Greg Braden, Heart Math Institute, Dr. Joe Dispenza, and Dr. Bruce Lipton. So I highly suggest you check those guys out because I've been studying their work for over a decade and it has changed my life. So let's get started with whether the heart can heal you or kill you. Well, we all know the #1 killer in the world. It's heart disease. So when I talk about can the heart kill you, this is the very thing I'm talking about. And when we start to learn about the idea of heart-brain coherence, it all starts to make sense. You ever heard of a broken heart? Have you ever had a broken heart? It turns out that when our heart breaks emotionally, it's actually sending certain signals to the brain. This can have a damaging effect on our physiology. You see, when we feel certain ways, our DNA or our vibration, which our DNA is in, starts to change. And our DNA can either be unfolding and uncoding beneficial expressions of itself or unbeneficial, things that can harm us or hurt us. Now, why do so many people die from heart attacks when this is a #1 killer in the world? I used to think it was only in America. It turns out it's the world. Well, it's because so many people aren't coming from the heart. They're coming from the brain. They're coming from these ideas that are setting them back. So we have to understand thyself instead of trying to understand this world we live in order to make sense of how this actually works. And we now know that when we experience emotions of love, gratitude, and joy, that the heart is actually sending signals to the brain, allowing the brain to be in a more relaxed state, in a more compassionate state, and in a more forgiving state. And what is so powerful about these signals that the heart is sending to the brain is that this is affecting us at the cellular level, so down into our DNA. Again, though, when we feel feelings of fear, anxiety, the same signal is getting sent from the heart to the brain, but instead of it sending signals that allow us to relax, instead of it sending signals that allow us to feel well, it's doing the actual opposite. It's sending us signals that are causing our body to restrict itself and creating acidity inside the body. You ever heard of alkalinity and acidity? Well, these negative thoughts can actually create a physiological reaction within our body. Have you ever heard that all healing can be done within, that the human body has everything inside of it to heal itself? Well, it also has the very thing inside of it to harm itself. And now that we understand that the heart is the major player in the game, it all makes sense because it's based on our choices. Now, I know so many people have had things happen to them in their past, maybe things that even happened to them before they were even born that really affect them in their day-to-day lives. And one thing we have to realize is that our unconscious mind is taking memories from the past and playing that every new day we wake up. This is why being conscious is so important. This is also why creating a conscious effort into an inward look into ourselves is extremely beneficial for us. If we don't take the conscious efforts to look within ourselves, then maybe we won't ever figure out why we act certain ways, we behave certain ways, why we feel certain ways. But as we learn about our past, as maybe we ask our parents certain questions or we look at how we were raised, we all see that we all have had some form of trauma in our lives. And every day that we wake up, if we just wake up and go, the unconscious mind will go back to that programming of those experiences and start to unfold that in our physiology, in our mind. And this is why so many people cannot change. A lot of people have tried meditation. They've tried to eat healthier. They've tried to make changes in their lives. And I'm sure that most of those people, like myself, have seen changes in a positive way. But maybe there's this underlying characteristic of self that people just can't seem to get over. what is stopping them from really changing? And it turns out that it's lack of awareness or lack of consciousness. Now let me explain. You see, again, when we wake up every single day, if we don't set intention, if we don't consciously go inside our mind's eye and start to play how we want to be, if we don't start to take the conscious effort to choose how we want to be. Like, let's use an example here. Say I get angry all the time, and this is actually my example. I have a problem with anger and stress. Like I hold it heavy, and I just go, and I start doing my day, and I don't do anything to try to keep my nervous system balanced. I don't do anything to think about who I really want to be. Maybe someone who's not angry, maybe someone who doesn't get stressed out a lot. Then I am going to do that very thing, because my unconscious mind only is going to be able to play from the past. And in order for me to change my future, I have to use my awareness to do that. And it takes a lot of work, but I'm telling you, it can be done. And it's been scientifically proven that it can be done. And now we understand that when we can get the heart, and now we know that there's this idea or this new scientific term known as heart-brain coherence. So when the heart and brain are in coherent state, this is what allows massive changes to happen in our character, in our personality. And this starts setting the stage for a new future for us. Anything is possible. And one thing that really helped me understand this is going within and analyzing. I used to think I should sit and meditate in a Zen quiet state and try to be in this most peaceful state in the world, and that this was gonna help me when I came out of that meditation, when stressful things would come at me that I normally would overreact to. But it turns out that I need to actually visualize those things happening in the future and consciously role play what I would do instead of what I've done. So again, I'm going to meditate and visualize these stressful situations and how my higher self or my conscious self would deal with these situations. And every time we do that, we start sending signals to our mind, body, and soul that we want change, to the universe, to God as well, too. Like, however you want to look at it, we're sending signals out saying, hey, I don't want to be like this anymore. And I'm going to take my imagination and I'm going to use it to help create and write a new script. Your heart is the command center of your body, and you have the power to choose how it influences your health. But if you don't choose, then the world will choose it for you. What does that mean? Well, it means your unconscious mind or your past will choose it for you. That's really what it means, the things that have happened to you in the past. Because again, our unconscious mind can only pull from the past. It can't pull from the future. So in order for us to change our future, we have to actually consciously use our imagination to write a new script. And we have to do this over and over and over again. I know so many people that just give up. They try it for a little bit, they try it for a few weeks, and they don't see massive changes overnight, and they quit and they give up. But what we have to understand is that it takes time, and practice makes perfect. But also learning how to identify the issues that might be setting us back. Our heart can send out more electrical energy than any organ in the body. And the energy can be so powerful that it can actually heal other people. And this has been proven. This has scientifically been proven that you can affect someone else's cancer just through your own heart-brain coherence. And we also want to look at, how do we get into heart-brain coherence? How does this all work? And one of the things that we want to pay attention to is getting into a specific brain state. We're finding out that most of the time we're in this state of beta. And this is a state or field of energy that most of us are in most of the time. And when we get aroused and we get excited, that beta field starts to increase, right? But as we relax, as we start to take deep breaths, as we just start to chill out, our brain actually goes into lower states of vibration known as alpha. And if we can get to theta, that is where we are basically in a hypnotic state, and we have the ability to completely reprogram our brain. Because when you're in a hypnotic state, you are very susceptible to suggestion. So if you're listening to an audio track or listening to something and you're in a theta state, it can actually greatly influence your personality and who you are when you come out of that state and you start walking around. So it's almost like it undoes the unconscious from the past, but in this case, it's still pulling from the past, but it's pulling from that meditation from the past, which is giving you more information because of your brainwaves being in a more susceptible state, known as theta. So I hope this video helped you understand how the heart can heal you or kill you, because this is something that I have been extremely interested in almost 17 years of my life. And it always comes full circle right when it needs to. And so I'm here now shooting this video to help maybe explain this to somebody who hasn't heard of this, or maybe isn't familiar with some of the doctors out there and people out there that are really the pioneers of this information. And I want to take a second to recall their names because they have had a massive influence on my life. So there's the Heart Planck Institute. There's Dr. Joe Dispenza, there's Dr. Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, certain mystics. If you're into the mysticism, there's things like the I Am Presence with Saint Germain and all that good stuff out there as well. There's all these different people or entities, if you will, that have really shown us the mysticism of all this. But these doctors that I mentioned, like Dr. Joe, Bruce, and Greg, they are using science to merge the mystical with the scientific world, and we're getting the data to back up. So now the left brain dominant populace can connect and the right brain dominant people can connect, and it's bringing coherence, because that's ultimately what's happening is when you get heart-brain coherence, both hemispheres of the brain are connecting together. And there's an area in your body that sits on the nervous system that affects the autonomic nervous system, but that is a conversation for another video. If you like this video and you found some value into this video, please like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, or share, because any of those things helps me shoot more videos. It helps get the message out, and if you care about someone who might need to hear this message, why not send it to them? My name is Charles Barber, and I've been in the health and wellness industry for almost 17 years now, and I'm super elated to be here now with you guys shooting this video. So if you have any suggestions, if you have any comments, I am an open book, and I am all ears, because I've got two of them in one mouth. So I digress. Thank you guys so much for watching this. And if you have any suggestions or comments, I am here to help serve you. God bless.